Hey BookTube! I don't understand how this happened so fast, but despite my incredulity, I'm doing the mid-year freakout tag. So I have done this video once before, but it was like more than a year ago, and it's going to differ pretty much every year, except for the one question, which is always the same. I feel like this marks like a nice like midway point of the year, but it goes too fast. So I'm going to try and blitz through these questions. Starting with question 1, the best book of the year so far. This one is easy for me because I've only had one 5-star read so far this year, and it was Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. This is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard sequence. I had high hopes going into this book that it would be another 5-star because I gave the first book in this series 5 stars as well. And in a rare turn of fate, it lived up to my expectations, so an easy answer. Question 2 is the best sequel I've read so far this year, and once again it is Red Seas Under Red Skies. I tend not to like repeating books for answers, but like there just isn't another answer. It just is this book. Question 3 is a new release you have not read yet, and the obvious one is The Sword Defiant by Gareth Hanrahan. Oh, I so would have read this like the week of its release if it had not been for my like little reading slump. But yeah, Gareth Hanrahan's other series, The Black Iron Legacy, is one of my favourite like all-time ongoing fantasy series, and I caught up with it this year. And so I'm excited to see what else is going to come from this author, and I'm super hype about this one. It gives me kind of like Soul Eater type vibes. I think there are sentient weapons. I'm very excited for it. I would have read it by now. I'm just very behind schedule. I'm so behind schedule, but this is like an imminent read, so I will get to it very soon. Question 4 is a most anticipated release, and I'll be totally honest, I think everything that's going to come out this year has already come out that I've been looking forward to. I feel like everything that I talked about in like my like pre-orders type video, where I was already discussing like all the books I was excited for, all of them have already come out. So I'm struggling to think of one. Maybe A Witch's Sin by Daniel Green. I don't know exactly when this comes out. I think it's this year. I can't remember. But I think I have like the Kickstarter bookmarked. So if that is a 2023 release, then that's what I'm gonna go with. Everything else came out in the first half of the year. At least I won't have to buy as many books from here until like the end of the year. Fingers crossed anyway. Question 5 is biggest disappointment, and this is a hard one for me because I feel like the books I liked the least so far this year I didn't have like massive hopes for, so I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to say Vampire Weekend by Mike Chen. Now this is by no means a bad book. I still liked this book. I just thought, I gave it 3 stars in the end. I just kind of thought it's going to be quite forgettable, you know? It didn't vampire enough for me. It has like a clear love of music, but I thought it would be so much more alternative, like more goth, more punk, more metal. It was just like a hair's breadth away from the mainstream, to be totally honest. So yeah, I didn't get what I wanted out of this book. I liked it fine, but it could have been so much more. It had so much more potential, so I'm gonna say this one. Question 6 is the biggest surprise, and this for me hands down was Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I knew I would like this, or at least I knew that I thought it was gonna be good, based on like what I had expected it to be, and it was pretty much exactly what I expected it to be, which is very good because it means there was like no room for disappointment. It kind of did everything it said it was going to do really well, and in such like a, oh, I was addicted to reading this. I flew through this, and I've not been like massively like into some of R.F. Kuang's other works. Like I was kind of like, I thought Babel was kind of mid, I'm sorry, I just did. And I like some parts of the Poppy War, but I'll be honest, that is one of the chunky series on like my ongoing series list that is like this close to me DNFing it. Yeah, this was a surprise, just like absolutely just knocked it out of the park for me. This was, I think I gave this like a 4 stars, maybe like a high 4 stars. Really enjoyed this one. Question 7 is favourite new author, either debut or new to me. Now, because I am reading more series continuations this year, like almost every single author I've read from this year is someone that I have read from before. There are so few authors that I've just first read this year, and I haven't enjoyed most of them, to be totally honest. Except for, slight spoiler for my next wrap-up, Jim Butcher. I will discuss how this happened in my next wrap-up, but I ended up unintentionally starting the Dresden Files series. It was totally on a whim, and you would think that I have like TBRs to stick to, which I do. This one just kind of came out of nowhere, and I actually enjoy it. Yeah, it's not like my favourite thing ever. I don't think like the prose or anything is amazing, but by virtue of it being the best new thing, like the best thing I've read from a new author this year, it gets the point. Question 8 is the question that's always the same every single year, and it is, who is my newest fictional crush? And I tell you guys this every time, and by that I mean the only other time I've done this quiz. I do not get literary fictional crushes, I will say that. Anime, film, TV, yes, and very easily and to an extreme degree. But in books, for some reason, it just doesn't happen in books. I never have an answer for this one. I could literally tell you about like 20 different like very handsome anime men. I realize that like in shot it's just books, but if you could see like a shelf higher, so much like anime merchandise, it's unbelievable. Oh, it's kind of blurry. I don't know if you can see. Am I telling on myself by doing this? Firstly, pretend you didn't see that. Secondly, that's before I tell you there's actually a second shelf on this side, so none of them from books though. Question 9 is newest favourite character, and again this is a hard one. I'm probably going to be basic and say maybe Wolf from A Day of Fallen Night. Again, I don't think he's going to go down in like my favourite characters of all time or anything, just of the new characters I've read this year. I can't think of anybody else who would be in the top slot, but like, question 10 is a book that made you cry, and again, I say this all the time, I just don't cry at books. I don't cry at books, I don't cry at films, it's just not my thing. But I will say the last line of The Broken God was very much in my feelings. And due to spoilers, that is all I can say. Question 11 is a book that made you happy, and I'm probably going to say Artificial Condition, I guess, by Martha Wells. This is the second book in the Murderbot Diaries, and I love Murderbot, and if I hadn't read, you know, Murderbot last year, Murderbot would be a strong contender for favourite character. Yeah, this book continues the sort of deadpan sass that I love so much from this series. Question 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought this year, and this one is obviously this Fairy Loot edition of The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. It's so gorgeous, it's stunning, but the best part about it is the foiled full colour map with a cat. I honestly didn't think it could get better than a full colour map, let alone foiled, but then with a cat. 10 out of 10. And then the last question, number 13, is books to read by the end of 2020. So very obviously, The Sword Defiant. Otherwise, more vampires, more series continuations, some series finales, and hopefully some other like, maybe a couple more themed reading challenges. Honestly, I'm just hoping to read books. Please no more reading slumps. Please just reading books. Thank you. So that was my mid-year freakout tag, and I realise I seem like I'm not freaking out, but internally I'm thinking of like all the things that I was supposed to have done by now and read by now that I haven't done because of so many things getting in the way. Mainly my poor addled brain, but hopefully no more reading slumps, although I don't want to jinx it. So that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did make it this far in the video, leave me your favourite colour of heart emoji, and let me know what your most anticipated release is for the back end of this year, because I don't have any. So yeah, remind me what I'm missing out on. Otherwise, that's it from me. Hopefully you're all reading something good, and maybe I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!